Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture for the course Refrigeration and Air Conditioning. Today we will continue with the compound vapor compression system and we'll see today multi-evaporator system and cascade systems. Myself Sumit Bardia, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Sharad Institute of Technology, College of Engineering, Gujarat. Today we will see the following points, that is introduction to multi-evaporator system. In that, single compressor, individual expansion valve, single compressor, multiple expansion valves, individual compressors, multiple expansion valves, individual compressors with compound compression and flash intercooling. Then introduction to cascade systems, optimum cascade temperature, and last one, auto cascade systems. First slide is about the introduction to multi-evaporator system. Here some information is given about the multi-evaporator system. We'll read out first. Very often a situation arises when varied type of cooling loads are connected to the refrigeration system. Each load may require an evaporator working at different refrigeration temperature. The whole system may therefore be operated either at a suction pressure equal to the lowest evaporator pressure, leading to a single compression system, or at various suction pressures with individual compressors for each evaporator, leading to multi-compressor system. So we'll see one by one how it works about single compressor and multi-evaporator or suction pressure at various evaporators that will lead towards multi-evaporator system. First of all, multi-evaporator system, in that first one, single compressor, individual expansion valves. A two evaporator, here E1 and E2 are two evaporators, a two evaporators, single compressor with individual expansion valve. So this evaporator consists of this expansion valve, this evaporator consists of another expansion valve for each evaporator and one compressor. So it is known as single compressor, individual expansion valves. That is shown in the figure. Operation under these conditions means the dropping of pressure from high pressure evaporators through back pressure valves. So this is a back pressure valve which is shown in here. This necessitates the compression of the vapor from the higher temperature evaporators through a pressure ratio greater than necessary, and hence at the expense of operating economy. Okay, so here as pH diagram is also there. Here the pressure P01, P02, that is two evaporators pressure, and this is the condenser pressure. Now what will be the mass flow rates through evaporators 1 and 2? Here it is written M1 equal to Q01 divided by Q01, that is small. So Q01 divided by H7 minus H5. So M1 H07 minus H5. Okay, so that will be the heat enthalpy difference. Similarly for evaporator second, that is M2 upon Q02 upon Q02, that is H6 minus H4, that is the enthalpy difference we need to consider here. Therefore the enthalpy of vapor mixture entering the compressor will be H1 equal to M1 H1 plus M2 H2 divided by M1 plus M2. So that we are already seen in the previous lecture. And the net work done is given by W equal to M1 plus M2 multiplied by H2 minus H1. Then the second method is the single compressor multiple expansion valve. So compressor is single here and expansion valves are different. We'll see. The operation of two evaporator single compressor system with multiple arrangement of expansion valve. Previously, each evaporator consists of each expansion valve. Now here the multiple expansion valves are there, but the locations are different. The only advantage of this arrangement is that the flashed vapor at the pressure of the high temperature evaporator is not allowed to go to the lower temperature evaporator, thus improving its efficiency. To gain thermodynamic advantage from this, it will be necessary to use individual compressor for each evaporator, thus eliminating the throttle losses of the back pressure valves. Now the refrigerant effects for the evaporators will be Q01 equal to H8 minus H6 and Q02 that is H7 minus H4. So that will be the refrigerant effect for both the evaporators. Here in the pH diagram it shows the multiple expansion valves with two evaporators. Then the mass flow rate of the refrigerant comprising the liquid and the vapor fraction will be evaporator 1 M1 equal to Q01 upon Q01, evaporator 2 Q01 upon Q02 plus M1 X4 divided by 1 minus X4. Okay, so where this term represent the mass of vapor flashed at point 4 here corresponding to the mass of liquid going to the second evaporator. Okay, so that's why we need to consider this mass of refrigerant here. Now the next category is individual compressors multiple expansion valve. Okay, now the compressors, here the two compressors are there, 1 and 2, two evaporators are there and multiple expansion valves are there. Okay, now we'll see how it works. The total power requirement can be reduced by the use of individual compressor for each evaporator and the multiple arrangement of expansion valves, which is shown here in the figure, in schematic figure also, in pH diagram also. This amounts to parallel operation of evaporators and is called sectionalizing. Okay, there may be a separate condenser here for each compressor or a common condenser for a whole plant. Here we are using a common condenser for the whole the plant. Now the calculations of our mass flow rates will be similar to the previous case as we have seen in the last method. Then the next case is about individual compressors with compound compression and flash intercooling. Now here, when one or more evaporators are in operation at low temperatures and individual compressors are installed, then the compound compression can be used to effect power saving as shown in this figure. The flash chamber is maintained in the pressure, the flash chamber is maintained at the pressure of the high temperature evaporator. Okay, so that will overall reduce the power consumption of the system by using this system. Now next we are heading towards the cascade system. What actually a cascade system is, that we are going to see. In a cascade system, a series of refrigerants with progressively low boiling points are used in a series of single stage units. The condenser of lower stage system is coupled to a evaporator of the next higher stage system and so on. The component where heat of condensation of lower stage refrigerant is supplied for vaporization of next level refrigerant is called as cascade condenser. This system employs two different refrigerants operating in two individual cycles. They are thermally coupled in the cascade condenser. The refrigerant selected should have suitable pressure temperature characteristics. Now in the figure here it is shown the cascade condenser which is connected with the evaporator and condenser also. So this is high temperature cascade. To increase our efficiency by comparing 2-stage, 3-stage cascade system, we can use it here. The refrigerants selected should have suitable pressure temperature characteristics, that we know that. An example of refrigerant combination is the use of carbon dioxide in low temperature cascade and ammonia in high temperature cascade. So this evaporator will be low temperature cascade and this will be the high temperature cascade. It is possible to use more than 2 cascade stages, and it is also possible to combine multi-stage systems with cascade systems. But what is the applications of this cascade systems? There are a lot of applications where we can use this cascade system. First one is liquefaction of petroleum vapors in chemical industries. We need a liquefaction process of the vapors of petroleum. Then liquefaction of industrial gases, manufacturing of the dry ice, and also deep freezing. For that we need to go for cascade systems. What are the advantages? Since each cascade uses a different refrigerant, so it is possible to select a refrigerant that is best suited for particular temperature range. Very high or low pressures can be avoided. That is the first advantage. Second is migration of lubricating oil is prevented from one compressor to the other. So that is the two advantages of cascade systems. Now in practice, matching of loads in the cascade condenser is very difficult, especially during the system pull down. Hence the cascade condensers are normally oversized. In addition, in actual systems, a temperature difference between the condensing and evaporating refrigerants has to be provided in the cascade condenser, which leads to loss of efficiency. Also, it is found that at lower temperatures, superheating is detrimental from the volumetric refrigerant effect point of view. Hence, in cascade systems, the superheat should be just enough to prevent the entry of liquid into compressor and no more for all the refrigerants. So that is the introduction to the cascade system. We have seen the applications and advantages. Now next is optimum cascade temperature. What is optimum? So for the two-stage cascade system working on suppose Carnot cycle, the optimum cascade temperature at which the COP will be maximum is calculated by root TE multiplied by TC. Now TE and TC are evaporator temperature and condenser temperature. Evaporator temperature of low temperature cascade and condenser temperature at high temperature cascade. Now for cascade system employing vapor compression cycle, the optimum cascade temperature assuming equal pressure ratios between the stages, that is here given in the equation, that is T cascade condenser optimum, that is B1 plus B2 divided by B2 by TC plus B1 by TE. Now the B1 and B2 are the constants in the Clapeyron equation, that is ln P equal to A minus BT by T for low and high temperature refrigerants. And the last point is about the auto cascade systems. An auto cascade system may be considered as a variation of cascade system in which a single compressor is used. Here only single compressor is used. The concept of auto cascade system was first proposed by Ruhemann in 1946. Now here figure shows the schematic of two-stage auto cascade cycle, and here this figure shows the vapor pressure curves of the two refrigerant in the cycles on de-Haring plot. So this is known as plot is known as de-Haring plot. Now here blue indicates a low temperature refrigerant and red indicates high temperature refrigerant. Now in the two-stage auto cascade system, two different working fluids, a low boiling point refrigerant and a high boiling point temperature. Here blue and red are two different working fluids. The vapor mixture consisting of both these refrigerants is compressed in the compressor to a discharge pressure. Here P discharge is the discharge pressure. When this high pressure mixture flows through a partial condenser here, the high temperature refrigerant can condense by rejecting heat to the external heat sink if its partial pressure in the mixture is such that the saturation temperature corresponding to the partial pressure is higher than the external heat sink temperature. Since the saturation temperature of the low temperature refrigerant is much lower than the external heat sink temperature at its partial pressure, it cannot condense in the partial condenser. Hence, it remains as a vapor. Thus, it is possible theoretically to separate the high temperature refrigerant in liquid form from the partial condenser. Next, this high temperature, high pressure liquid is expanded through a expansion valve into the condenser operating at a pressure P suction. Here in the PT diagram, here it is shown P suction. Due to the expansion of the high temperature refrigerant, liquid from P discharge to P section, its temperature drops to a sufficient low value up to TEH. Okay, so that when the low temperature high pressure refrigerant vapor comes in contact with the high temperature low pressure refrigerant in the condenser, it can condense at a temperature of TCL. This condensed high pressure low temperature refrigerant is then throttled to a suction pressure and then made to flow through the evaporator, where it can provide the required refrigerant effect at a very low temperature T. Both the high temperature refrigerant from the condenser and low temperature refrigerant from the evaporator can be mixed as they are at the same pressure. This mixture is then compressed in the compressor to complete the cycle. Thus, using a single compressor, it is possible to obtain refrigeration at very low temperatures using the auto cascade system. In practice, more than 2 stages with more than 2 refrigerants can be used to achieve very high temperature lifts. However, in actual systems, it is not possible to separate pure refrigerants in the partial condenser, as some amount of low temperature refrigerant condenses in the partial condenser and some amount of high temperature refrigerant leaves the partial condenser in the vapor form. Thus, everywhere in the system, one encounters refrigerant mixtures of varying composition. These systems are widely used in the liquefaction of natural gas. Okay, so that is about the auto cascade system, and we have completed here about the multi-evaporator and cascade system. In the next lecture, we will continue with the same chapter with different points. Thank you.